All right, let's dive right in. We're tackling a giant of literature today, Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina. It's this incredible story about tragic love, sure, but also about this search for a meaningful life. And we're going to unpack what makes this masterpiece tick in just the next few minutes.
Okay, so the book kicks off with one of the most famous lines in all of literature. And you got to understand, this isn't just a clever opening. It's like the key to the whole novel. Right from the get-go, Tolstoy is telling us what this is all about, figuring out what makes a family and really a life work or, just completely crash and burn.
So to get into that, we need to picture the setting. We're heading into 19th century Russia, a world that was as beautiful as it was restrictive.
So what was this world like? Well, picture this. Glittering ballrooms, lavish parties, fancy uniforms. Everything looks perfect on the outside, right? But underneath all that sparkle, it's basically a gilded cage. Your real feelings? You have to stuff them down. Social status is the only thing that matters. And this is the world our characters are trapped in.
And here's where Tolstoy does something really, really clever. He doesn't just give us one story. He gives us two, running side by side. We have two main characters who pretty much never meet, but their lives are a total contrast. You've got Anna Karenina, the queen of the social scene in the big cities, trapped by all the rules but desperate for real passion. And then you have Konstantin Levin, a landowner who wants nothing to do with that world. He escapes to the countryside to figure out what a truly good life looks like. It's through these polar opposites, that Tolstoy asks this huge question: how are you supposed to live your life?
All right, let's start with Anna's story. It's a journey that starts at the very top and ends, well, in absolute tragedy. So when we first meet Anna, she literally has it all. I mean, she's a celebrated beauty, super charming, and married to this high-ranking government official. She's got a son she absolutely adores. On paper, her life is perfect, but you can feel it right from the start. There's something missing for her. She's searching for something real in this world that's all about keeping up appearances.
And that something real shows up in the form of Count Vronsky, this dashing military officer, and boom, her life is never the same. You can see her whole downfall laid out here. It all kicks off with this one fateful meeting that sparks this wild, passionate affair that shatters every social rule you can imagine. She ends up leaving her husband and, this is the big one, her son to be with Vronsky. Society completely shuns her. She becomes an outcast, and that isolation, it just eats away at her, leading to paranoia and despair. She's trapped with no way back and no way forward, and it all leads to this final, devastating choice.
And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures how intense her love for Vronsky is. It's not a casual thing. It's everything. It's her entire world. This love is her active rebellion. It's her new identity. But here's the tragedy. That same incredible passion that makes her feel alive is exactly what cuts her off from everyone and everything, trapping her in the end.
Okay, so while all that intense drama is going down in the city, Tolstoy just shifts gears completely. He takes us out to the Russian countryside to follow a much quieter, more internal story, Levin's.
And Levin, he's basically the anti-Anna. He's kind of socially awkward, always in his head, and he just can't stand how fake high society is. He's not looking for some grand, dramatic romance. Nah, he's after something much harder to find. A life that actually feels real and has purpose.
So his story isn't about big, dramatic events. It's more like a series of steps he takes to figure things out. First, he just bails on the city. He can't take the phoniness. He goes back to his farm and gets his hands dirty, literally, finding real meaning in physical work. Then, he builds a family. He marries Kitty, and he starts to understand love not as a crazy passion, but as this day-in, day-out commitment. And finally, after a lot, and I mean a lot of soul-searching, he finds a kind of faith, not in a flashy way, but just this simple, profound belief in goodness.
So when you boil it all down, this is what Levin's happiness is built on. Family, honest work, being connected to nature, and having some kind of spiritual faith. It's all about authenticity over appearance. His whole deal is that true meaning isn't found in some big, dramatic moment, but in the small, real stuff of everyday life.
So, let's bring it all together. What happens when you put these two completely different lives next to each other? Well, that's where you find the real heart of the book.
And this comparison just makes it so clear. On every big question in life, they take opposite paths. For love, Anna goes for this all-consuming, fiery passion. Levin, he builds a steady, committed partnership. Society, Anna fights it and it destroys her. Levin just walks away from it and that sets him free. And the outcomes,
I mean, they couldn't be more different. For Anna, it's tragedy. For Levin, it's a life that's not always easy for sure, but it's full of meaning. And that right there is the key. This book is so much more than just a famous love story. It's this massive exploration of how to live a good life. Tolstoy is holding up these two lives, Anna's and Levin's, and basically asking us, the readers, to think about it. What really matters? What choices actually lead to fulfillment, and which ones lead to ruin?
So in the end, Tolstoy leaves us with this huge question. He gives us two models for a life. Anna's, which is all about passion but ends in flames, and Levin's, which is about purpose but is full of struggle. So which one is it? Is one path just better? Or is real happiness found somewhere in between? There's no easy answer, and that's exactly why we're still talking about this incredible book almost 150 years later.